What's up, FP students? How y'all doing tonight? Y'all excited to be back? Come on, somebody's got to get louder than that. We've been out for a whole week. Who's excited to be in church tonight? All right, that's good. That's better. Everybody was a little quiet at first, and somebody right over here just yelled no. You yelled no at me. Okay, you were yelling no about something else. You made me feel bad about myself, girl. Oh, my gosh. Last week we had snow, and I wanted to be excited about snow. I really wanted to be excited about throwing just pure awesome snowballs at the faces of my children. But I couldn't because we weren't here, and I missed you guys. Man, we're so glad to be back. Man, 4 out of 5 weeks of not having FP students, I thought the world had ended, people. Are y'all with me? That's bad. Let's not do that again. Let's not do that again. All right, now, hey, we got some stuff to talk to you about before we start the message tonight. I need to go. I need to roll, right, because I don't have a ton of time, and I got some preaching to do because I hadn't preached you guys in a little while. God's got something for us. But we got some stuff to talk about. We got some cool things coming up that I want you guys to be a part of, right? So first of all, let's talk about a little thing called fusion, all right? Anybody ready for fusion? Now, a lot of people in the house excited. Some of you, though, may have no clue what fusion is, all right? So raise your hand if you've been to fusion before. Raise your hand if you've been to fusion before. All over the room, you've been to fusion before. All right, hands down. Raise your hand if you're like, I've never been to fusion. What's fusion? Awesome, there's people in the room. What's fusion? So here's the deal with fusion. In about 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks, we're going to have the biggest event of the year that we do at FP Students. 1,500 students in this room across all 6 of our campuses, and we're going to be coming together for a weekend. Man, we're going to have incredible worship in this place. We're going to have, just like some challenges. They're going to change your life. We're going to have a ton of fun, memories you're never going to forget. The best part of Fusion, though, is that you spend Friday and Saturday, man, you're here in and out, but you spend the bulk and majority of your time with your small group at a host home, hanging out. It's your weekend, right? You guys have a blast. Those that have been at Fusion, there's a reason why they get so excited, and it's because some of their best memories and inside jokes actually come from Fusion Weekend. Fusion Weekend, guys, if you just started coming to FP Students, Fusion Weekend is the equivalent in one weekend of spending a year's worth of time having the best memories you can with your small group. You get to know them so well, and I promise you this, it's going to be I believe with everything in my heart, it's going to be one of the funnest things you have ever done. It's going to kick 2018 off in a huge way for you. It's also, though, you just get ready, it's going to change your life. Your life will never be the same because what God's about to do at Fusion, right? So regardless of whether you're at on the faith journey, you may just be asking questions about Jesus, or you may be all in for Jesus. Fusion's for you, and you are going to love it. Small group leaders are already preparing for you. We're excited. So here's the other piece with this. People start asking about Fusion. They go, I don't know if I can afford it. I don't know if I can go. Fusion's only $50 for the entire weekend, and we feed you. If you can't sell your parents on it this way, guys, you spend more than $50 worth of food on me on a weekend anyway, and you could get rid of me for a weekend, right? If you want to go hang out with your friends, tell them that. That'll work, all right? I'm telling you, it'll work if you do it right. Do not miss Fusion. We want you to be there, and man, it's just going to be, it's my favorite time every year. So if you don't know much about Fusion, talk to your small group leader. Talk to some of the people who raised their hands. You don't want to miss that. Now, we also have something else really cool coming up, and this is the second year we've done this, but I'm excited about this year more than ever. We have in 2 weeks on the Wednesday, or on the weekend, on Sunday and Saturday here at this campus, we have something called Sunday Showdown. Sunday Showdown is where on Super Bowl Sunday, in every service, we have a thing we call a preach-off. We have 2 pastors on stage battling it out for who is the best. And I'm telling you, this place is going to be transformed. The whole thing's like a massive halftime show, okay? It is a blast, but we need your help, okay? Our very own global student pastor, Pastor Zach Stevens, is going to be battling it out with our incredible senior pastor, Chris Stevens. And we love our pastor, don't we? Don't we love our pastor? Man, absolute incredible man of God, one of my favorite people on the planet. But for one weekend, we are not Pastor Chris fans, guys. We're Pastor Zach fans. Pastor Zach is representing the next generation. Pastor Zach represents everyone under 30 and a few of us who still feel under 30, right? Whatever. Pastor Zach represents us. He represents your heartbeat. So we need to help him because there's been rumblings that PC may be looking to cheat, right? So here's what we need. This section right here, right in the front, for about 6 rows deep, every service, all 5 services on that weekend, I want a student section that takes over, right? I want a student section like you would see at the biggest UT game. I want a student section like you see the biggest basketball game of the season. We're even going to have Keenan Sloan. Where are you at in the room? Keenan Sloan. Where's Keenan? Oh, there's Keenan right there. Keenan is going to be the student section cheerleader, and we're just going to interrupt this business like 4 or 5 times with our own cheers, right? We're going to get it. We're going to get it. When people come in the lobby, when people come into our church, you know what they're going to hear? They're going to hear chants for Pastor Zach and about how old Pastor Chris is. It's all going to happen at the same time. It's going to be us out there. We're going to take over, but we need you. We need your energy. Can you guys help us? 5 services, a student section that goes wild Sunday Showdown. Can you help us? Oh, that was weak. Can you help us? Come on. Student section, where you at? Where you at? All right, that's not good. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. We're gonna count to 3, and we're gonna really try this. We gotta let the adults know FP students is here to run the place, okay? On 3, you gotta give me the best you can, the best yell, the best standing, oh, whatever, man. We just gotta make people feel it. 1, 2, 3. Let me hear it. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's what we want, okay? So 2 weekends from now, Sunday Showdown, start off Super Bowl weekend right. 2 services on Saturday, 3 services on Sunday. Some of you are going to have to take a bullet for the team and come at 8:45, okay? For real. If you come to all of them, I'm going to do something special for you. I'm going to be here sitting up front for all of them. Also, guys, we're going to be helping doing some cool stuff on stage. Last year, there were some people who dumped Gatorade all over Pastor Zach on the last service. And I would love for that to be you, okay? I would love for it to be you, right? So go ahead and make plans to be there for that. If you want to be here this weekend and just act like the student section's already there, I'll be down here with you and we'll yell anyway, right? We'll just yell. We'll just trash talk pastor during service. It's cool, right? There's 2 weekends a year we can do that. That's right now, all right? So if you want to bring a walker and sit on the front row, you know, like if you want to give Pastor a water bottle and be like, you okay, right? It'd be awesome. Just don't tell him I told you that, okay? I'm going to get myself in trouble. Now, let's go ahead and jump in this week. Y'all ready for Realest Week 2? All right. We started a series a couple weeks ago before Snowmageddon situation called Realest. And here's what we're talking about during Realest. In Realest, we're going back and looking at what was the ideal environment that God had for us, right? What is it that God had for us in the beginning that was so special? What is it that makes FP students so special? And we believe this. What makes FP students so special? One of the biggest things is that we are one of the realest student ministries around. We want to be real. We want to be transparent. We want to be authentic. But that means a lot of things. So we're looking at certain areas. What does it look like to be the realist in those areas? And the first week we looked at this. FP students is special. And man, your life is supposed to be something special because God has designed you to be in real ownership of this ministry. That this isn't a ministry for you. This is a ministry like with you. That there's nothing in this ministry that you can't do. If somebody will get ready to preach here in, about 6 weeks, we're going to have a little thing called a student takeover. It's going to be all students preaching up here. It's going to be awesome, right? I would love it if enough of you took ownership that even on the weekend, we couldn't let any adults on stage because, man, you were ready to go, right? Running cameras, whatever it is, there's nothing you can't do here. Because we want you guys to take ownership of this ministry. This is your ministry. It's not mine. I can't change the world, but I believe you can. I can't change your school, but I believe you can. So we talked about ownership. And if you haven't found a place to serve yet, man, please come see me. Come talk to your small group leader. Whether you want to be like welcoming people on the welcome team and the VIP team, or you want to be, man, like a weekend pastor running on the weekend team, or we're even working on stuff on the weekend where we can have some zone pastors who are students who are just running around this room, and you're finding every student who you can meet who is brand new to let them know that Faith Promise loves them and we want to help connect them. Whatever you want to do, we want to help you, and there's nothing we won't let you do because we believe this is your student ministry. It's a ministry with you. It's not a ministry for you. So that was the first week, real ownership. Tonight, I want to talk about this. Tonight, let's talk about real relationships, the realest relationships. Because what makes FP students the most special, I think, man, it's just incredible, are the relationships, the real relationships we have with one another. How many of you guys have just a couple of really awesome close friends here at FP students? They may not even be here tonight, but you got some close friends, right? How many of you guys absolutely adore your small group leaders, right? Let me hear that. That needs to be something we hear. Small group leaders, you're our heroes. You are our heroes. I heard people chanting Jordan's name. Jordan, you're my fave, man. Yeah, Jordan. But hey, real relationships. By the way, these two intersect. That's really cool. We have some students who have decided they're going to take ownership and they're owners of the ministry. We have students all over this room who are in high school who have decided they're going to be middle school small group leaders, and they just got done leading a middle school small group because they're being a part of the best relationships we have as well as taking ownership. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Hey, raise your hand if you're still a student but you're a small group leader. Raise your hand. Let's see you. Oh, awesome. Give those people a hand. How cool is that? That's right. You're some of my favorite people. I absolutely love seeing students step up into that. But relationships are something that we all crave, right? We want good friendships. We want good relationships. And when I say relationships tonight, let's go ahead and set the term. I'm not talking about dating relationships. I'm talking about all relationships. Relationships with your parents. I'm talking about your friendships. I'm talking about those people who you have a relationship with as far as there's some relationship there, but you're not really best friends. You're definitely not dating, but you got to get along together, right? You got your acquaintances, right? All those relationships. What about your relationships with your teachers? Those can really hose you, can't they? If those are bad, they can hose you. Who today said, I wish I had a better relationship with some of my teachers because that is ruining my life? Right, yeah, man, you got it. Relationships are important. We all crave relationships, but would you guys agree with me on this? Let me ask you a question. I just want to know if you'll agree. Is it true that relationships are messy? Yeah, it's true. Some of you didn't say anything, but you got that like painful look on your face. You're like, yes, relationships are messy. Has anybody experienced a messy relationship today? Like it's got messy with people? Yeah, people are slowly, they're just like, I don't know if I want to see me raise my hand. But yeah, messy relationships. Relationships are messy. And we learn relationships are messy long before middle school or high school, right? Man, we learn it early. Every relationship's messy. I think about this. I got a friend here at the church, one of our small group leaders, but he also works here on staff. His name's Tony. Tony's my friend, Tony Giordano. I love Tony. You're not Tony, but I know Tony, right? Tony's a friend, but like me and Tony, our friendship's getting a little messy right now because here's what's happening with Tony the last few days. I don't know why, but Tony's decided that every time he sees me, he's going to go for the hug, which he knows excites me because I like to hug him. He's my guy, right? But then he sticks his hand, and I do mean his hand, not his finger. He proceeds to stick his hand like 2 feet up my belly button, okay? It hurts so bad. He attacks me in the hall. And then, he attacked me this morning, and I'm just yelling in the hall. It's supposed to be professional, and my boss walks by, and I'm yelling, oh, it hurts, it's too far, right? It's a messy relationship, right? Like, people thought I was getting attacked. I'm not even kidding. You would have thought I was dying, okay? Somebody, ran me through with a sword or something worse. It was bad. Tony likes to mess with me. All right? It's a messy relationship. You got some messy relationships like this. Here's another time I found out relationships were messy. Some of you guys have had some crazy situations. This is a crazy situation for me. I've never really gotten over this. When Candace and I were dating, my wife and I, Candace, we've been married for 13 years now. There was a time when we were, I think that was my wife. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody's cheering for me. It's probably related. But Candace and I were dating, and we hadn't been dating that long. And I don't like it when people, mess with my people. I'm protective. I go all protective. I go mama bear on my people. And Candace is one of my people because we're dating. And there's this guy. We weren't friends. We had a bit of a contentious relationship, right? It was already messy. His name was Sean. And Sean decided he was going to talk smack about my girl. It was over at that point, right? It was over. So me and my buddy Michael, we did what you do, right? And we're like, hey, 30 minutes, meet us outside. And not because we're being weird, 30 minutes, meet us outside. It was because that was the window where the security guards would not be checking back behind the dumpsters at the mall we were at, right? And there's this area behind the dumpsters where you had about a 10-minute window. You could about kill somebody, but you just had to know where the window was, right? So I'm like, hey, man, we're going outside. So we go, and I'm mad, and I'm running in front because I'm not scared, and I'm about to, waylay this dude because I'm mad, and he's got a friend. So my friend, Michael, because he's a real friend, I was like, dude, you got to take his friend, right? Sean's not that big, but Sean's friend, he's a little bigger. I said, Michael, take one for the team, man. You're my guy. You gotta take him, or he's gonna grab me. And then our girlfriends are going out there, and then you start having the conversation in your head. What if this dude's tougher than I think he is, and I lose my girlfriend and my pride all at the same time, right? But you're walking out, and I shook that off because I feel good about myself, and I'm walking, and I'm just going, And all of a sudden, now I feel something hit me in the back of the head like a rocket. It hurt so bad. And then there was a wetness. And I thought, I am bleeding. And then there was a sweet smell. And I picked something up behind me and realized that Sean has taken a bottle of Aunt Jemima maple syrup, opened the lid ever so, chucked it, and when it hit my head, it exploded. And I am in like my freshest clothes, right? I am looking good. I am on a date at the mall with my girlfriend, right? And now I'm covered in Aunt Jemima syrup. Covered. Butter flavor. Smell it running down. It's ruined my clothes. It's sticky. It's everywhere, right? So we get in this fight, man, and I just go to town because I'm angry at this guy. And I'm getting him pretty good. He's on the ground. I'm giving him the kick in the ribs, right? And I look over, and here's my friend Michael being messy. He's getting destroyed. He's getting destroyed, people. It's sad. And I look over, and I think, surely he can take care of himself, and it becomes very apparent, no, you can't, right? So I got to go over to Michael, and I got to help Michael. And as I'm helping Michael, and I'm just thinking, man, this is messy. Relationships are messy, aren't they? Always got you got to help people, and people do weird things like throw Aunt Jemima syrup at you. Man, you don't ever forget that. That's humiliating. I don't know. Man, if you don't know how that's experienced, we'll just line you up, and at some point, maybe at Fusion, I'll just throw some Aunt Jemima syrup at you and see how you feel. Man, it's not good. It's messy. And then I have these little creatures called kids, right? And you have the kids, and you're like, oh, man, I made life, right? This is awesome. Blessings from God. And then they start pooping nonstop, right? Because relationships are messy. How many of you guys would agree every relationship you have, messy? Everyone, messy. So here's the deal, though. As messy as our relationships are, don't we crave them? We crave them. Nobody, guys, nobody wants to be, nobody wants to be alone. Nobody wants to get jumped alone. Nobody wants to live alone. Nobody wants to die alone unless you're a crazy cat lady. And if you're a crazy cat lady, we've got a whole nother conversation we got to have, right? Okay, I know. Some of you, I see it right now. You are a future crazy cat lady, okay? You need to back up off that crazy and get a dog, okay? Something. But we want to be with people. Students, here's the bottom line for tonight. We will miss out on meaningful relationships if we get distracted by the mess. We will miss out on relationships when we let the messy parts of it scare us away from the meaning of them. Are you letting the messy parts of relationships keep you away from experiencing the meaningful parts of them? In Genesis 2:18, man, in Genesis 2, you read all the way through Genesis, it's the creation account, and every time God creates something, he says something, and he says this, he says, and it was good. Every time he creates it, and it was good. And there's one thing in all of Genesis at the beginning of the creation account that God said was not good. Only one thing. We got to pay attention to it. He said, then the Lord God said, it is not good for man to what? To what? To be alone. It's not good for man to be alone. Everything God had created at this point is perfect. And he looks out and he says, no, what would make it perfect is if man wasn't alone. I will make a helper suitable to him. And that's where Eve came in. And God created us to be in a relationship from the very beginning, a meaningful relationship. And we gain meaning from this relationship. Nobody wants to be alone. And guys, we need people because we're better together. We are better together. Do you believe that? Do you believe we're better together? Who in here believes we're better together? Who in here? Right? Then we've got to deal with the mess, don't we? We got to deal with the mess. But how many times do we let the mess distract us from the meaning? How many times do we walk away from a relationship just because it got messy? How many times have people walked away from you because it got messy? See, we want meaningful relationships. But here's the question. Relationships are messy. This is not the question yet. I'm getting there. Relationships are messy, but they also help us find our meaning. And we have to find our meaning. Guys, I'm telling you, God uses relationships, people in your life, to help you find more of who you were created to be than just about anything outside of his word. God uses his people to speak into you. God uses his people to change you. God uses his people to help you understand the meaning of who you are. We need those meaningful relationships. We need godly people around us, don't we? We need those people. We're better together. But why is it that God said the only thing that wasn't good was for man to be alone? And then we look at relationships today and they're so messy. If that was what we needed more than anything, if that's what it took to make it perfect, how are relationships so messy? Why is everybody such a hot mess? Why does it work that way? Why are they so messy? And I'm going to tell you guys what I believe happened. relationships got messy when we let sin get in the way of love. Relationships got messy when we let sin get in the way of love. And you could really put it this way. The sin that got in the way of love the first time was really just selfishness and pride. God gave us everything and walked with us because he loved us. Yet, all it took was a little bit of sin with Adam and Eve to say, you know what, we think God's holding back on us. We think we could have more. And that selfishness and pride led way to fear and led way to anxiety. And now every other piece of mess in relationships has come from letting sin get in the way of love. Do you know anybody who's ever let sin and mistreating people and their own selfishness get in the way of love? Have you experienced that? Have you experienced somebody in your life letting sin, their own selfishness get in the way of loving you the way that you wanted to be loved? Have you watched other people let it get in the way of loving people the way they should be loved? How many of you have watched politicians and celebrities and people hurt people because they let sin get in the way of love? Just this week, just yesterday, guys, think about this, just yesterday in Kentucky, man, there was a school shooting. People are at school just like you're at school today, and all of a sudden somebody comes in first thing in the morning and starts gunning people down because they let sin get in the way of love. That's the world that we live in. This world needs more love than anything, and we still need relationships more than anything. And that's where the disconnect came in. How is it that God said relationships are what we need more than anything, but they got so messy? Relationships got messy when we let sin get in the way of love. And relationships aren't just messy, they're scary. They're scary. We ask some things in relationships. This is what really scares us. We ask questions like this. What if they don't like the real me? Not the me that I put on Instagram. Not the me that I try to show on Snapchat. Not the me that I wish I was. What if they don't like the real me? What if they found out who I really am and they don't like me? Every single one of us has asked that question. I ask that question every single day. What if they judge me or mock my real problems? What if they judge me or mock my real problems? Or what if no one ever really loves me at all? Guys, this right here scares me to death because the enemy still tells me sometimes, hey, what if your family really doesn't actually love you anyway? What if you let them down and they stop loving you? What if nobody ever loves you in life? And I know it's a lie from the enemy, but doesn't this stuff just scare us to death? These are the questions we ask, but at Faith Promise, we believe what makes us so special. At FP Students, what makes us so special are those real relationships because we exist to help real people who have real problems and are real jacked up to find real love right here every week. We exist to go help people. We're going to go find them. We're going to bring them in. Friends, family, people who have so real problems, they don't think anybody's going to love them. We're going to bring them in and love them like Jesus. That's what makes this place so special. How many of you guys were invited to FP Students by somebody? Just raise your hand if you were invited to FP Students by somebody. All over the room, somebody loved you enough to invite you. Somebody loved you enough to talk to you about Jesus. Somebody loved you enough. Relationships are messy and relationships are scary, but look what happens when people work through the mess. Look what happens when people work through the mess. Now, here's the other thing about relationships, guys, and this is true. You can take this to the bank. If it's not messy, it's not real. If it's not messy, it's not real. There's a scripture in Proverbs 14. It says this, man, and I love it. Without oxen, a stable stays clean, but you need strong ox for a large harvest. Now, some of you guys are like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Here's what this means. If you want your stable clean, don't put any ox in it because they're going to poop. And poop is messy. But if you want to harvest and you want to actually get some work done, get the oxen, but you're going to have to deal with the crap that comes with it. Because with no poop, there's no progress. With no poop, there's no progress. Guys, there's some crap that's going to come with relationships. Can I tell you fighting through the crap is worth it? Fighting through the crap is worth it when people come in and, man, maybe they don't act the way that you think they should act. Maybe they don't believe the way that you think they should believe. Maybe they don't treat you the way that you want to be treated. There's some thing that is worth it. I promise it's worth it to fight through the crap and love them anyway. You want somebody to fight through your crap and love you anyway. Because if it's not messy, it's not real. It's going to be messy, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Because I believe we'll get more meaning and less mess when we love well. We'll get more meaning and less mess when we love well. What makes us so special at this place, students, I believe it's how we love each other. I believe it's how we're going to love each other even more this year because we're a family. Remember our 2018 word? All of 2018, we're going to be digging into this word family because it's all about love. It's all about loving each other. It's about loving the people who come in here with the love of Jesus because that love and those real relationships for people who have real problems, who have real struggles, that is what's going to radically change the world. It's not politicians. It's not campaigns. It's not all those things. It's us loving people in a way that changes their reality. Like many of you have been loving the way that Jesus has taught us to love. In John 13, In John 13, we find Jesus washing the disciples' feet. I'm going to read you guys just a couple of verses here at the beginning, and then I'm going to explain this to you. But it says this. Jesus is with his disciples. They're eating, and it says, before Passover celebration, Jesus knew that his hour had come to leave this world and return to the Father. He knew he was about to be crucified, falsely accused. He was going to die. But he had loved his disciples, his best friends, during his ministry on earth, and even now he loved them to the very end. That is important. He loved them to the very end. It was time for supper, and the devil had already prompted Judas, one of his friends around the table, to betray Jesus. And Jesus knew. Man, he knew the Father had given him this thing. He knew that Judas was going to betray him. He knew that his friend Peter was going to betray him as well. And it says he knew that God had given him authority over everything and that he had come from God, and he knew all these things. He knew he would return to God, but he knew everything, good and bad. And he got up from the table, took off his robe, wrapped a towel around his waist, and he washed their feet. He poured water into a basin, and then he began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel he had around him. Now, at this time, something huge in this context, you got to think, they didn't have like cars. They walked around all day and got all the junk on their feet. Man, their feet were nasty. The lowest position in a household was the servant that you paid to wash your feet, right? Why would Jesus, the master, ever do this? Well, he steps out and he walks through this process, and the disciples don't even like it. Peter steps out and says, no, Lord, don't wash my feet. I want to wash your feet. Man, I don't deserve to have you wash my feet. And Jesus tells him, I have to do this because I want to show you how deeply I love you. And it's all about love. He wanted to serve them. He wanted to love them. And he gets down and he washes their feet, and he takes on the form of a servant. God in the flesh takes on the form of a servant to let them know how much he loves them. But it says that he actually knew. It goes on. It talks about multiple times. He knew when he washed Judas's feet that Judas was about to sell him for 30 pieces of silver. He knew when he washed Peter's feet. And he even told Peter, you're going to even deny that you know me 3 times before the night's out. You're not even going to be willing to tell people you know me, let alone stand with me. He knew it, but he washed their feet. He knew it, but he loved them anyway. 2 things we learn from this. 2 things we learn from this. Number 1, Jesus loved people where they were. We can love people right where they're at. Love them where they are. Number 2, love them to the end. Jesus loved people exactly where they were, even Peter and Judas, who were about to blow it and mistreat him in every way. And then he loved them to the end. He didn't stop. He loved them till the end, man. And he's looking, and he never gives up on them. I love this. He loves them so much, but he never gives up on them. He actually goes at the end of John 13, in 34 and 35, he tells them this. At the very end of this meal, he says, so now I'm giving you a new commandment. Love each other just as I have loved you. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. What Jesus said at the very end of this, I've done this so that you will know to love each other the way I've loved you. And the one thing that is going to prove to the world that you're mine, one thing that's going to prove to the world that you're the church, the one thing that is going to change the world is when you love people the way that I love them, the way that I love you. Jesus said your relationships, they're going to be less messy and more meaningful when you step into loving well. And then in John 21, 15 through 17, we see Peter and Jesus have this exchange. Right, fast forward. Jesus has died, he's resurrected, and he's having breakfast with Peter, and Peter's done. Peter's ready to quit because Peter really did. He denied he even knew Jesus. He let him down. He's freaking out. But they have breakfast, and after breakfast, Jesus asked Simon Peter, he said, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? And he said, yes, Lord, you know I love you. Then feed my lambs, which means this, love my people. Love my people, right? And then he asked him again. He repeated the question, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Yes, Lord. Peter said, you know I love you. He said, then take care of my sheep. Take care of my people. Love my people. And Jesus said a 3rd time, he asked him, Simon, son of John, do you love me? And Peter was hurt. He was frustrated. He was angry that Jesus asked the question a 3rd time. Of course, Jesus, I told you I love you. I already feel bad enough about how I messed up. And Jesus asked the question a 3rd time, and he says, Lord, you know everything, and you know, God, you know that I love you. You know that I love you. And Jesus said, then feed my sheep. And here was the answer. Think about this. Peter wouldn't even say, I know you, Jesus. He didn't want anybody to know he was even associated with Jesus a few days before. And instead of Jesus getting mad, he loved him for real right in the middle of his problems to the bitter end. And all Jesus asked was this. He said, if you love me, then would you just love people better? Would you just love people well? if you love me, I still love you. I haven't given up on you. There's nothing you can do that'll make me give up on you. He still says that today. There's nothing you can do that'll make me give up on you. All I'm asking you to do is love other people, because if you love other people the way that I loved you, it will change their everything. You don't know who came to FP Students tonight and has a plan to take their own life tonight, but the way that you love them could change everything. You don't know who came and they just think, nobody's hugged me for a month. Nobody's told me they love me or they're proud of me. But you can do that, and it changes the whole trajectory of their year. You don't know who so desperately just needs someone to tell them, I love you and I care about you. And Jesus gives us the opportunity to be that to real people with real problems and a real love. And here's kind of the way that I want to finish this out. I want to give you just a simple challenge. Everybody has relationships in this room. When it comes to relationships this week, would you just love and lean on love? And what that means is no matter how people respond to you, you love. No matter how people mistreat you, you love. You respond in love. Even if you don't feel it, you respond in love. You take the action of love. And not only do you love, but then you lean on love. Because you can love the person who's hurting you. That doesn't mean you have to let them just keep cutting you up, right? I want you to love them and then lean on the love. Love them and then go find the FP students. Go find the family. Go find the people who are going to love you back and pick you up so that you can go love again. Students, can we be that for each other? Can we be that for each other? Can we love each other when we need it so bad? Can we make sure that we have family, that no matter what you're going through, that our friends know they'll be loved by us? Can they know that we're the church and that there's a power in us just because of the way that we love? And would you be willing to take the extra effort to, with everything that you have, just try to love some people this week? I believe that simple choice would change everything for you. You may be in the room and you say, I've never even experienced that love, and you can't really love because you've never experienced the love of Jesus. But no matter where you've been and what you've done, Jesus loved you enough to die for you, to go to the cross, to have a conversation with you just like he had with Peter. I'll never give up on you. I still want the best for you. All I want you to do is love me and love people. And I'll take you down a journey you can never dream of. But there has to come a point to where we say, Jesus, I know you love me, and I'm going to love you. I'm going to bend my knee to you. I want you to be my King and my Lord. And I'm going to follow you. I'm going to love like you. And if you have never done that, but you want to do that tonight, I'm going to tell you, you can do that wherever you're at. You don't need to pray a special prayer. But when you give your heart to Jesus, everything won't be easy, but everything will change. Your life will have a meaning like you never dreamed of. And you'll be adopted into a family of God. People who are always going to walk with you. So students, I don't know if that's a decision you need to make, or maybe you just need to worship and love the one who loved you. Maybe you just need to lean on that love with some friends. But here's what I'm going to ask. We're going to sing a song, just one song, Here I Surrender. And as we do, only thing I ask, if you don't feel into it, you don't really understand worship, you're not comfortable, just sit in your seat. But don't talk to anybody. This is not about anybody else. I want you to do one of two things. Either love on the King or lean on the love of the people around you. Whatever that posture of worship looks like for you, can this just be a love song to the holy and high King who gave his life for us? Could this be a time where if there's something between you and a friend here and you know it's not right, where you go to him and you say, hey, I'm so sorry. This is just stupid. We shouldn't be arguing over this. I just want to love you. I'm sorry. Are we good? Whatever your relationships look like, if you need to make a move with a relationship, or if you just need to sing a love song to the King of Kings, can we do that? I'm going to pray for you. Let's stand. Let's worship. Let's connect. Let's love and lean on love. Father God, we are grateful for you. God, we don't deserve your love, not even the least little bit. But God, your love has changed my life more than anything else on this planet. And God, I know that your love, the love of your people, can change the lives of people in this room. God, right now, I pray that all over the room there are people who will bend their knee to you for the first time. God, I pray that right now all over the room there are people who will sing with full hearts to the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. God, would you hear our song? Would it put a smile on your face? God, we love you. And we ask you to fill us with a supernatural love that could only come from you. Would everybody who comes in contact with an FP student know there's something special about us? It's our love that you put in us. It's in your name, your power, your might, your authority, we pray.